Full story. The $42 million contract that shook a family and sparked revenge. Hello everyone, welcome back to Silent Wars. Today we have a truly captivating family story that will take you on an emotional journey filled with surprises and heartfelt moments. Trust me, you don't want to miss this, so grab a cozy seat and maybe a snack, because things might get a little intense, but in the best way possible. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It really helps us bring you more amazing stories like this. Also, drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. We love connecting with you all. Now, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and prepare yourself for a story about family, resilience, and unexpected twists. Let's relax and enjoy this full story together. Ready? Let's get started. Lara Reynolds stared at the elegant cream-colored envelope resting on her mahogany desk, the embossed gold letters spelling out her brother's name, and the location of the wedding, an upscale ballroom in a landmark hotel in New York City. The invitation carried the weight of an event she'd long dreaded and simultaneously hoped for. As the youngest of the Reynolds family, Lara had never quite fit the mold they expected. Her decision to leave law school 2 years ago had been met with silence at best and derision at worst. "You're throwing away your future," her parents had warned, their disappointment hanging heavy in the air at every family gathering. But Lara had chosen a different path, one fueled by relentless determination and a fierce belief in her vision. She wasn't just chasing a dream, she was building one, a tech startup specializing in neural interface devices, quietly valued now at over $300 million. The thought of attending the wedding stirred a mix of emotions, anxiety gnawing at her confidence, hope that maybe this time would be different, and a simmering resentment she had buried deep inside. For years, her family had dismissed her ambitions as impractical fantasies. Her older brother James had always been the golden child, the heir apparent in their family's business dynasty. His achievements were showcased at every gathering: law degrees, high-profile partnerships, and now the engagement to a socialite from one of the city's most influential families. Lara had watched from the sidelines, congratulating him with a polite smile while knowing her own accomplishments would never earn the same recognition. Yet, beneath the polished surface of the invitation and the dazzling world it represented, Lara felt the sting of exclusion. The memories came rushing back: dinners where her opinions were ignored, conversations hushed when she entered the room, the silent judgment in their eyes as she discussed her startup. But this invitation, this rare acknowledgement, was a chance to show them what she had built, not with inherited privilege, but with grit, sleepless nights, and unwavering resolve. As she prepared for the day, Lara carefully chose a midnight blue dress, elegant but understated, a subtle statement of quiet confidence. The dress wasn't about blending in, it was about owning her space without shouting for attention. Her reflection in the mirror was steady, but inside, her heart pounded with the uncertainty of what awaited her. Would she be welcomed as family, or relegated once again to the shadows? Driving through the bustling streets of Manhattan, Lara's mind raced through scenarios: walking into the grand ballroom filled with hundreds of guests, the whispered conversations that would inevitably follow, the looks of surprise or dismissal. She had no illusions. The stakes were high, and so was the risk of humiliation. But she also carried with her the knowledge of her company's worth, the tens of millions in contracts pending with the very conglomerate her brother's family controlled. It was a silent power she wielded, hidden beneath layers of corporate secrecy. Arriving at the venue, Lara felt the familiar blend of awe and alienation. The chandeliers sparkled above, casting light on guests adorned in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos. Yet, when she inquired about her seating, a cold smile from the wedding planner sent a clear message. Her place was not among the honored guests, but relegated to a small room adjacent to the kitchen. The blow was sharp, cutting through the layers of her composure. But as she stood there, the mix of hurt and anger ignited a resolve that had taken years to cultivate. This was not the end of her story. It was just another challenge she was determined to overcome. Lara Reynolds was no longer the girl who quietly left law school to chase an impossible dream. She was a force to be reckoned with, a woman ready to claim her rightful place, no matter how long it took or how fierce the battle. Tonight, the family would see a different Lara, one who would not be ignored, and who was prepared to make them recognize the power she held, even if it meant shaking the very foundations of their world. Behind the polished facade of family dinners and grand celebrations, Lara Reynolds held a secret that few in her world could have guessed. While her relatives paraded their wealth and status at the most exclusive events in New York City, Lara was quietly the owner of Evertech Solutions, a rapidly growing tech firm specializing in cutting-edge neural interface technology. Valued at over $300 million, the company was a powerhouse in its own right, yet her family remained oblivious to her true role. They saw her as the rebellious younger sister who abandoned a promising legal career, unaware that the company poised to revolutionize their family's business empire was, in fact, hers. The centerpiece of this hidden empire was a critical $42 million contract with the family's conglomerate, a deal that could not only elevate Evertech to new heights, but also redefine Lara's position within the family hierarchy. This contract was more than just a business agreement. It was a symbol of validation, a quiet assertion of her rightful place at the table where decisions were made and power was exercised. Every day that passed with the deal still pending sharpened Lara's determination to claim what was hers, both professionally and personally. Behind closed doors, Lara navigated the complexities of corporate leadership with a level of expertise and composure that few could match. The office of Evertech Solutions, located in a sleek skyscraper overlooking the Hudson River, was a far cry from the modest apartment her family assumed she lived in. Her executive team consisted of some of the brightest minds in the industry, all working tirelessly to meet deadlines and innovate beyond the competition. Yet, despite her success, Lara maintained a low profile, deliberately keeping her ownership discreet to avoid triggering envy or sabotage within the tightly knit circles of family influence. This secrecy was both a shield and a weapon. It allowed Lara to build her company away from the glare of familial scrutiny, but it also meant she was denied the recognition she craved. For years, she watched her brother James step confidently into the spotlight, lauded as the future of the family business, while she remained on the sidelines, her accomplishments overshadowed by tradition and expectation. But the $42 million contract was a game-changer, a tangible piece of leverage that Lara intended to wield with precision. As the contract negotiations stretched on, Lara felt the weight of countless silent battles fought in boardrooms and behind the scenes. She had fought skepticism from investors who doubted her youth and experience. She had overcome legal hurdles and fierce competition to secure her company's place in the market. And now, she was poised to confront the biggest challenge yet, breaking through the barriers of family politics and claiming her stake in the legacy she had long been excluded from. Her resolve was unyielding. Each day brought a mix of anticipation and frustration, knowing that the approval of this deal could alter the dynamics of the family forever. It was not merely about money or business, it was about respect, acknowledgement, and finally stepping out from the shadow of doubt that had clouded her since she left law school. Lara was determined to ensure that when the family finally realized the power she held, there would be no denying her impact. In quiet moments, Lara reflected on how far she had come from the whispered doubts and dismissals to the helm of a company valued in the hundreds of millions. Her journey was a testament to resilience and vision, a story of forging success on her own terms. And as she prepared for the family events looming on the horizon, she knew that the time had come to unveil her truth, to stand firmly in her power, and to claim her rightful place not only in the business world, but within the family she had long been told she didn't belong. The $42 million contract was more than a business transaction, it was a declaration. And Lara Reynolds was ready to make sure everyone heard it loud and clear. Just hours before the much-anticipated wedding ceremony, Lara Reynolds received the message that would ignite a fire burning beneath her composed exterior. Instead of the elegant seat she had expected in the grand ballroom, surrounded by the city's elite and her family's closest friends, she was told her place was now in a cramped lounge adjacent to the kitchen, a space hidden away from the main event, filled with the clatter of dishes and the hum of catering staff. The reason? A last-minute seating adjustment explained by a wedding planner with a thin smile, one that barely concealed the underlying message. Lara was not truly welcome among the honored guests. The blow hit hard. It was a public snub, a calculated humiliation meant to remind her and everyone else of the place they believed she deserved. All the years of being dismissed, the whispered doubts about her decision to leave law school, the scoffing at her tech startup ambitions came crashing back. The cold reality of exclusion wrapped around her like the sterile walls of the cramped room. The grand chandeliers, the polished marble, the laughter and music in the ballroom, all of it felt like a world she had been barred from entering. But beneath the sting of rejection, something far more potent stirred within Lara. The humiliation was not the end of her story, it was the spark. Her pulse quickened, not with shame, but with a fierce resolve. This moment, marked by deliberate exclusion, would become the catalyst for a reckoning. The kitchen lounge, far from a place of hiding, would be the vantage point from which she would rise and make her presence undeniable. Lara took a deep breath, steadying herself amidst the clamor of the staff and the faint aroma of expensive hors d'oeuvres being prepared. She could hear snippets of conversation from the ballroom, the clinking of glasses, the murmur of congratulations, the occasional burst of laughter. Each sound was a reminder of what she had been denied, but also a reminder of what she was fighting for. Years of relentless work had led her here, and this moment of public slight would only fuel her fire. The velvet gown she wore wasn't just an outfit, it was armor, carefully chosen to convey quiet strength and confidence without arrogance. She knew that true power didn't come from a seat at the table alone, it came from the unwavering belief in one's worth and the ability to command respect through action. As she glanced around the small room, her eyes met those of Jenna, a catering manager who had offered a knowing smile earlier, a subtle nod of solidarity. It was a reminder that support could come from unexpected places and that isolation could be turned into opportunity. Lara was surrounded not by family's cold rejection, but by the resolve to rewrite her narrative. The tension in her chest eased slightly as she pulled out her phone to check in with her team. Her company's future hinged on a pivotal contract about to be signed later that evening, a $42 million deal that could change everything. The family's conglomerate needed her business more than they realized, and she was ready to leverage every ounce of her influence. Humiliation had tried to diminish her, but instead, it sharpened her focus. This wasn't a moment to retreat into shadows, but to step boldly into the light, even if that light came from the cramped corner near the kitchen. Lara Reynolds was ready to stand tall, ready to claim her place, and ready to make sure that the world and her family could no longer ignore her. Tonight, the kitchen lounge would not be a symbol of exclusion. It would be the birthplace of a comeback. The reception hall was alive with laughter and clinking glasses, but for Lara Reynolds, the evening was anything but celebratory. Just as she settled into the cramped lounge near the kitchen, her phone buzzed insistently in her hand. Glancing at the screen, her heart sank. It was a call from Mark, her chief financial officer. Answering quickly, she was immediately met with a tone thick with urgency and unease. "Lara, we have a serious problem," Mark began, his voice low but tense. "The supplier for the neural interface components, the cornerstone of our $42 million contract with your family's conglomerate, is threatening to pull out. They're citing concerns over the paperwork tied to your ownership stake. There's been a leak, and the details have raised red flags." The words hit Lara like a punch to the gut. The stakes had always been high, but now the pressure wasn't just about navigating the complicated family dynamics at the wedding. It was a direct threat to the survival of her company's biggest deal. If the supplier backed out, it could trigger a cascade of failures, delays, lost revenue, and worst of all, a public spectacle that could shatter her hard-earned reputation. For a moment, Lara felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. The tension between her and her family had always been fraught with undercurrents of resentment and disbelief. Now, the lines between professional and personal blurred into a perilous crossroads. The contract that symbolized her right to claim her place within the family's legacy was on the brink of collapse, not because of market forces or bad luck, but because her very involvement had become a liability in the eyes of powerful players. She pressed her palm against the cool surface of the wooden table, taking a slow, measured breath. The ballroom's lively chatter seemed distant, almost irrelevant compared to the crisis unfolding in her hands. Yet within the storm of uncertainty, Lara's resolve only hardened. Years of perseverance had brought her here, and she refused to let this setback derail everything she had built. "Mark," she said steadily, "I need all the details now. Who leaked the information? How can we contain this? I want our legal team on standby, and I want you to reach out to the supplier immediately. Let them know I'm personally involved and that we will resolve their concerns." The CFO's voice was resolute. "Understood. I'm coordinating with our legal counsel as we speak. I'll keep you updated every step of the way." Hanging up, Lara felt a surge of determination flood through her. The tension was palpable. She was fighting on two fronts. The humiliation of being sidelined at her brother's wedding was compounded by the very real threat to her business. Yet, these challenges only strengthened her conviction that she belonged not just at the family table, but in the boardrooms where real power was wielded. Her eyes flicked to the door leading to the ballroom. Through the thin walls, she could hear the laughter, the music and extravagant celebration she was both a part of and apart from. The irony was not lost on her. While the world saw the social event of the year, she saw an arena where her future would be won or lost. Lara pulled out her phone again, drafting a quick message to her executive team. "Hold tight. Things might get messy, but we're not backing down. This is our moment." She was prepared to face whatever storms lay ahead: family drama, corporate sabotage, or whispered betrayals, because the stakes were no longer just about a contract or a wedding. They were about claiming her legacy, on her terms. And Lara Reynolds was ready to fight. The grand ballroom buzzed with anticipation as the evening's highlight, the signing of the $42 million contract, was about to commence. Crystal chandeliers glittered overhead, casting warm light on the elegantly dressed guests, the family's closest allies, and high-profile business executives gathered to witness what was supposed to be a seamless merger of power and wealth. Lara Reynolds sat quietly in the cramped lounge near the kitchen, feeling the sting of her sidelined position, but mentally preparing for the moment she would make her mark. Suddenly, without warning, the entire venue was swallowed by darkness. The power had gone out. A collective gasp swept through the crowd, followed by murmurs and the frantic shuffling of staff as emergency lights flickered on, casting eerie shadows across the marble floors and gilded walls. The blackout lasted 10 long minutes, 10 minutes pregnant with tension, uncertainty, and opportunity. For most, the blackout was a disruption. For Lara, it was a chance. In the thick veil of darkness, She pulled out her phone and activated a live broadcast to the executives and media present, bypassing the carefully choreographed presentation the family had planned. Her voice, calm but resolute, echoed through the digital airwaves. "Good evening," Lara began, her image now live on screens around the room and in the hands of reporters capturing every word. "What you're about to see is more than just a contract signing. It's the unveiling of the truth. I am Lara Reynolds, the sole owner and CEO of Evertech Solutions, the company behind this $42 million deal. The power to make this merger happen has always been mine. It's time the family and the world knew where the real control lies." As the broadcast continued, the emergency lights flickered and the backup generators hummed to life, slowly restoring the ballroom's brilliance. But the damage or the revelation had already been made. Shock rippled through the guests. Whispers turned to gasps, and the carefully constructed facade of family unity and corporate dominance began to crack. Lara's brother James clenched his jaw, his face pale as the truth unfolded before everyone. The socialite fiancé's eyes widened in disbelief. Even the patriarch of the family, seated at the head table, looked as if the floor had dropped beneath him. Guests fumbled for their phones, some pulling up company records, others hurriedly messaging their contacts to verify the claim. In that charged atmosphere, the carefully orchestrated event dissolved into chaos. The family's tight grip on power loosened as Lara's revelation shifted the balance. No longer was she the sidelined sister in the kitchen lounge, she was the architect of the deal, the power behind the scenes who had long been underestimated. The blackout, initially perceived as a mere technical failure, became the dramatic backdrop for Lara's moment of triumph. It was a physical manifestation of the darkness that had kept her truth hidden, and now, as the lights returned, so too did the world's recognition of her influence. Security moved swiftly, some to contain the surprise broadcast, others to calm the startled guests. But Lara remained composed, standing tall amid the storm she had unleashed. Her gaze swept the room not with anger, but with quiet certainty. This was no longer a battle for approval. It was a declaration of ownership, power, and identity. As conversations erupted around her, Lara knew the road ahead would be challenging. There would be resistance, denials, and perhaps even betrayals. But in that moment, illuminated by the restored glow of chandeliers and the flash of camera phones, she had claimed her rightful place. The blackout had turned the event upside down, exposing the hidden currents beneath the family's polished veneer. And Lara Reynolds was ready to navigate whatever turbulence came next, confident that the truth, once revealed, was her strongest weapon. As the aftermath of Lara's shocking revelation rippled through the wedding reception, the atmosphere grew charged with tension and disbelief. Guests whispered anxiously, and the once gleaming celebration devolved into a scene of confusion and fractured alliances. Just when Lara thought she had begun to seize control of the moment, a harsh blow came from an unexpected source. Her cousin David, once considered a trusted confidant, stepped forward to publicly discredit her claims. With a cold, measured tone, David dismissed Lara's ownership of Evertech Solutions as nothing more than a clever facade. "This is a calculated stunt," he declared to the gathering crowd. "Lara's claims are exaggerated, and her involvement in the company is vastly overstated. Let's not be fooled by theatrics." His words echoed through the hall, stirring murmurs of doubt and uncertainty among the guests. For a fleeting moment, Lara felt the sting of betrayal cut deeper than any slight from her brother or the family patriarch. David's words were not just an attack on her professional identity, but an attempt to strip away the dignity she had fought so hard to reclaim. The room seemed to close in around her as old wounds of mistrust and isolation threatened to resurface. But Lara's spirit, forged in years of perseverance and quiet strength, did not waver. Instead of recoiling, she met David's gaze with unwavering resolve. Stepping forward, she raised her voice, steady, and clear. You can deny the truth all you want, David, but the facts speak for themselves. I am the CEO and majority owner of Evertech Solutions. The contracts, the investors, and the innovations are mine. This company is my legacy, built from the ground up against all odds. Her declaration silenced the room. The guests, caught between the drama of family politics and the undeniable proof of Lara's success, began to shift their attention back to her. In that moment, Lara was no longer the sidelined sister or the underestimated entrepreneur. She was a leader who had reclaimed her power and dignity with grace and courage. As the chaos continued to unfold, Lara chose her exit with quiet confidence. Leaving behind the swirling storm of accusations and disbelief, she walked out of the wedding venue, head held high. The night air was cool against her skin, but the fire within her burned brightly, a testament to her resilience and unwavering belief in herself. Outside, away from the glitz and the fractured family ties, Lara reflected on her journey. Her triumph was not just about business or contracts. It was about justice, self-worth, and empowerment. She had faced rejection, public humiliation, and betrayal, yet she emerged victorious not merely in the eyes of others, but in her own. Her story would become a beacon for those who dared to defy expectations and claim their rightful place. It was a powerful reminder that true success lies not in the approval of others, but in the strength to stand firm amid adversity and to rise above the noise. For Lara Reynolds, this was only the beginning. The road ahead would be filled with challenges, but armed with resilience and conviction, she was ready to build a future on her own terms, one where she would no longer be ignored, doubted, or diminished. Her victory at the wedding was more than a personal milestone. It was a declaration of empowerment, a triumph that resonated far beyond the walls of the grand ballroom and into the hearts of anyone who had ever been underestimated. In life, one of the most powerful lessons we can learn is the value of resilience and self-belief in the face of doubt and adversity. Lara's story reminds us that success isn't simply about fitting into others' expectations or gaining immediate approval. True achievement comes from trusting your vision, working tirelessly behind the scenes, and standing firm even when others underestimate or exclude you. Often, those closest to us may not recognize our potential, and their doubts can feel like deep wounds. Yet, it's in these moments of rejection and challenge that our inner strength is forged. Instead of shrinking away, we must embrace these trials as opportunities to prove not just our abilities, but our worth and dignity. Lara's experience also teaches the importance of owning your truth. When faced with public scrutiny or betrayal, staying composed and confident allows you to reclaim control over your narrative. Empowerment comes from authenticity and courage, the willingness to step into your power, regardless of the noise around you. For anyone navigating their 20s, 30s, or beyond, this is a call to remember that your path is uniquely yours. External validation may be fleeting, but the integrity of your journey and the resilience you build will sustain you through life's uncertainties. Embrace setbacks as fuel, keep your vision clear, and never allow temporary exclusion or doubt to define your worth. Ultimately, success is not just what you accomplish, but how you rise each time you are knocked down. It's the unwavering belief in yourself that lights the way forward, turning challenges into stepping stones and transforming setbacks into stories of empowerment. As we gently close this chapter, remember that every journey, no matter how challenging, carries the seeds of growth and hope. Success isn't always loud or fast. It often comes in quiet moments of resilience, patience, and unwavering belief in yourself. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to take a breath and find your calm. If Lara's story taught us anything, it's that even when the world tries to dim your light, your strength can shine through in ways others never expected. So, whenever life feels heavy, remind yourself, you are capable, you are enough, and your story is still unfolding. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for sharing this space with us. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Silent Wars for more heartfelt stories. Don't forget to tell us where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. We love hearing from you. Now, take a deep breath, feel the calm, and let this moment wrap around you softly. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay gentle, and know that you're never alone. Whispering softly your story matters.